Hi, my name is Professor Lisa Gabel. I am Professor of Psychology and Neuroscience, the William C. 67 and Pamela Rappolt Scholar of Neuroscience, and the Chair of the Neuroscience Program. Today I'm going to give you a little bit of a glimpse into the life of a student scholar at Lafayette through the lens of research being conducted in my lab. So over the next couple of minutes, I will be voicing over some slides that describe the students' research. And I would like to thank you for taking the time to see what the students are doing, and I hope that you enjoy your afternoon. At Lafayette, I find that teaching and research are interconnected, which creates a special opportunity for students and faculty to work together both in and out of the classroom. Research that spans disciplines tends to be either holistic, which integrates the natural, social, and health sciences in a humanities context and transcends their traditional boundaries, additive, which draws on knowledge from different disciplines but stays within their boundaries, or integrative, which is interdisciplinary research, which analyzes, synthesizes, and harmonizes links between disciplines into a coordinated and coherent whole. In my laboratory, students work on a variety of research projects in three different areas. Neurodevelopmental disorders, such as Fragile X mental retardation, seizure disorders associated with abnormal brain development, and dyslexia, which has been the main focus of our lab over the last several years and has led us into an area of translational research. In our case, we have been able to translate the findings in genetic models of the disorder, namely mouse models, genetic models of developmental dyslexia, and translate that to children with dyslexia. The ability to translate research across species opens up the possibility of asking some very interesting questions. In this particular study, we have received NIH funding in order to look at the link between the brain, genetics, and behavior in order to understand the mechanism that underlies developmental dyslexia. Lastly, which I'll be talking about today, through a collaboration with Professor Yi-Chung Yu in Electrical and Computer Engineering, we have created a team project run by students in neuroscience and engineering. In this program, students work together to design brain-computer interface devices. I will briefly discuss this research program as well as how that program integrates with the curriculum. In the research laboratory that Professor Yu and I run, we have developed brain-computer interface devices. What a BCI is it converts brain signals, neural signals, into control and communication signals via a computer to manipulate an external device. In our case, we use non-invasive EEG systems to detect the electrical impulses from the surface of the scalp. Those signals are then filtered and processed by a computer, and specific features of those neural signals are detected. Based on the change of those specific features, these act as control commands for an external device. When the device moves or operates, that gives the user either visual or auditory feedback in order to modify their particular thought process in order to control their neural signals to better control the external device. And it is a cyclical pattern of activity. In our laboratory, students are working with these EEG-based BCI systems to control a Lego Mindstorm robot, operate the cursor on a computer screen, to fly a quadcopter or drone, and to ultimately control a BCI-controlled wheelchair. The robot is actually a scaled-down version of the wheelchair, and as you can see in this little diagram over here, we actually test a user's ability to navigate a maze which has a ramp which is scaled to ADA specifications. They come to an automatic stop. They traverse through a hallway in order to get into a bathroom stall, and then they come back out again. With the successful completion of the study showing that it is possible for individuals to control the robot with this wireless device. We have built a prototype for the wheelchair, and you will see a brief glimpse of how that operation actually works. Now, rather than show you graphs and data, I'm going to narrate a brief clip demonstrating students operating the BCI-controlled Lego robot as well as the quadcopter. In this video clip, you'll see students operating a Lego Mindstorm robot, a wheelchair prototype that was designed in the lab, and a quadcopter, all controlled wirelessly through an EEG headset. So the EEG picks up the neural signals, the signal is processed, and a feature is extracted, or multiple features, and those features are used as control commands for these external devices. This is the wireless headset, the Lego Mindstorm robot. The robot is being controlled by this participant over here as they're navigating that obstacle course. This Mindstorm robot is a prototype for a scaled down version of a wheelchair we hope to be able to operate. And now you see a student operating or trying to learn how to control a quadcopter in a virtual environment. And here she's operating the quadcopter in the gymnasium at Lafayette. You can see a camera view from the side of the quadcopter, on the quadcopter, and then the controls that are being used to operate the quadcopter as it navigates through an obstacle course. Now, I find that teaching influences our research, but also our research can influence our teaching. With the successful development of this brain-computer interface collaborative research effort, we have developed new courses to introduce students to concepts in BCI as well as computer programming. For example, in the first year seminar class, Melding Man and Machine, I introduced students to new concepts about BCI, about research with human participants, toward the development of a device to improve the quality of life of individuals who have disorders of voluntary motor control, such as ALS or locked-in syndrome. Students in this class actually get to go into our research laboratory and learn from our research students. So we have here is Sarah Blitz and McKenna Schimmel. They have both since graduated and have gone on to medical school. McKenna is currently attending the University of Vermont, and Sarah is currently attending Harvard Medical School. But while they were on campus, they were students in the lab, but they were students who were teaching other students. So upperclassmen, research students teaching first-year seminar students about their research and how to conduct these types of studies. In addition to that course, Professor Yu and I have developed a cross-listed course in neuroscience and engineering called Human and Machine and Advances in Medical Technology. In this class, students also come to the lab and they work with our research students. They learn to analyze raw data in MATLAB and test commercially available BCI devices, ultimately to the culmination of the development of their own device, at least theoretically. However, oftentimes students in these courses do find their way into the actual research laboratory. Along with these classes and this research is possible because we were successful in getting a think tank program grant back in 2010, which the call for funding was looking for projects which could span the disciplines and include engineering in research areas in other disciplines as well. Professor Yu and I came up with the research proposal for the brain-computer interface device, in part stemming from a class I taught on Values in Science and Technology class that I taught that same year on brain-computer interface. Although we had no equipment, we merely had an idea. We were awarded the funding. We were able to use that to collaborate with Dr. Jonathan Walpaw at the Wadsworth Center, one of the leading BCI research centers in the world, who gave us our first set of equipment. We were then able to turn that into some pilot data, which led to an NSF Major Research Instrumentation grant and the acquisition of a clinical grade EEG system that we use to develop our BCI devices.
Students have been able to capitalize on the skills that they've learned in the laboratory, working with neurosciences and engineers in the development or improvement of brain-computer interface devices. Students have, following graduation, have gone on to work in companies, earn PhDs in neuroscience and engineering, gone on to medical school at a variety of institutions. They have earned honors in their respective departments at Lafayette. We've had students earn Goldwater scholarships, as well as Department of Defense SMART scholarships, and even following the completion of their studies at Lafayette have gone on to earn predoctoral fellowships from the NIH. With the skills that they learn in the lab, both critical thinking and analytical skills, and the ability to work collaboratively with people across different disciplines, this sets the students up for success in the future. One of the things I'd like to point out is Dr. Jonathan Walpaw from the Wadsworth Center, who got us started in the BCI laboratory, has maintained a connection with the lab and has had students from the laboratory work at the National Center for Adaptive Neurotechnologies, or NCAN, which he started through the generous scholarship from the Dorflinger funds in order to send students to primary research institutions to learn additional skills in the laboratory. Kevin Long went not this past summer, but the summer before, and worked at NCAN through a Dorflinger scholarship and is now working at NCAN following his graduation this spring. Marissa Giuliani did a virtual internship with NCAN this past summer through that same Dorflinger scholarship. So the connections that we maintain or we began years ago have cycled back and have continued to help our students even to today. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the presentation and seeing the amazing things the students are doing on campus. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Family Appreciation Day. We thank you for coming and stay safe.